gozaimasu. I remembered to say it first thing. So if you don't know why I'm saying that, go to last episode. I explained that there. But welcome to Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, wherever you happen to be, Shakespeare therapy. Herbal healing we decided on because it's more euphonic than herbal healing. Oh, thank goodness. The person that we invited an author today because, well, let's start with what we usually start with. First of all, breathe. I'm a little frantic this morning, and we are talking about relaxing. Relax. That's our theme of the day because, these last few months have been pretty stressful, no matter where you fall on the spectrum of having to deal with it. And so it's a stressful time for the world. So how do we deal with stress? How did Shakespeare deal with stress? So first of all, breathe. And I have my mint from the first show that calms you down. And I put it in the refrigerator last night and look what happened. So in a way, it's best to leave it out or put it in a little glass of water rather than refrigerate it because that darkness can happen. Doesn't mean it doesn't work or isn't still good. It just doesn't look as pretty. So, and I've been making the tea quite a lot. So here's my mint tea to cleanse and detox. We had a show about that. And I did that challenge accepted thing. I just posted it. And I'm going to talk probably maybe another show about the domestic herbal, since it's written by a British woman named Margaret Wills, who's a friend of mine, and I'm going to explain that after this in my Challenge Accepted post. But today we're going to be talking about hemp. Now, Shakespeare, obviously there's hemp in Shakespeare, which is why we're talking about it, but also they thought a few years back that they found cannabis in the residue of the pipes in New Place, which was the big house that he bought in 1597. And so they were like, oh, Shakespeare a stoner? And there's a great article in the Atlantic Monthly from 2015 that explains the whole thing, so I'm not going to reiterate it here. But it's, first of all, very difficult to date the clay pipes. You can't date them to a specific year, certainly. Maybe a decade, a few decades, maybe more difficult, if not impossible. And also, the place was an inn, from the 17th century. So, and there's one drawing of it. It has all these gables, so it looks like an inn. And so there are people coming and going. You can't necessarily say Shakespeare was a stoner, but everybody got very, very excited about it because it's another closer relationship that people are constantly trying to have with Shakespeare because there's so much in the plays but very little in the biography. I had a haircut this last week in New York, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So we're just going to do the line of the week quickly first, and of course it is about rest. It's not about hemp. Hemp has a bunch of quotes that are having to do with rope. Obviously they used hemp for rope. There's a great presentation in the Chelsea Physic Garden in London about hemp and rope and all that stuff. And in them, behold, upon the hempen tackle, ship boys climbing. Right, so they're climbing up the rope. But so I thought rest, because we're going to be talking about hemp in relation to relaxing. Relax. And the difference between hemp and cannabis, which I am not an expert on. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest was going to be the line of the week. That's from Romeo and Juliet, but it's one of those lines where it's a little bit of a Groucho Marx with a cigar. Would I was sleep in peace so sweet to rest? Because that was my Groucho Marx imitation. If I had a mustache, I would kind of look like him. Anyway, because he says, sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep in peace so sweet to rest, meaning he wishes he was on her breast as well. So we're not going to do that one. We're going to do the crickets sing, and man's o'erlabored sense repairs itself by rest. Because I think we've all had an o'erlabored sense in the past few months. That's an elision of over, and the reason Shakespeare and other writers of the day did that was to fit into a rhythm, iambic pentameter, the heartbeat. We've talked about that. It's one of the reasons that Shakespeare, I believe, anchors you in wisdom, anchors you in healing, the breath of saying it, the heartbeat of the words, the way the words are constructed goes over the ego and kind of anchors in your brain, the garden of the mind. We're talking about healing herbs, and we're also talking about healing the brain, helping the memory, and growing the garden of your mind, if you will. If you will. I was thinking we should call you guys the Wildings, because I'm willing. That whole thing I was talking about willing, willfully versus willingly. I am willing for this to happen as opposed to willfully. So the Wildings, we're the Wildings. And we're with and we're talking about wilding with the plants. So it all works together. The crickets sing, and man's o'er-labored sense repairs itself by rest. So now we're going to try to bring on Tammy. Hey, look at that.
Hello.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, Hannah Sylvester, the district herbalist, is on vacation this week, or on holiday, as they say in Britain. She's on holiday after a tough semester. So we took the opportunity to talk about hemp with Tammy Sweet, and it's fantastic that she has this new book, which you can pre-order. And I even have at the farmer's market, it's a bit floppy now, but actual hemp. Look at that. And according to them, at the farmer's market, I can juice it. Can I juice it? And what do I have straight up hemp juice? Do I mix it with something? What do I do with this?
Well, you can juice it and you can get lots of nutrition. It doesn't taste very good at all. It's really bitter. Mm-hmm. And what I say to people is, this isn't my quote, but another herbalist, Lisa Ganora, says that cannabis is nettles with benefits.
Oh, really? Oh, we haven't done a nettle show yet. But nettles sting, and this isn't stinging me. Is that
correct?
Is that
so? What I'm saying is that the nutritional benefit of that leaf is the same as nettles.
Ooh.
And nettles is my favorite. Yeah. And nettles taste a lot better than cannabis does. But sure, you can juice the leaf. And herbalists know that you can, have your nettle tea, and that'll do just fine. And so it's legal where you are to have hemp plant flower leaf.
Okay, so let's discuss the legality now. Or first of all, the difference between cannabis and hemp. I thought like hemp is okay and cannabis is the dodgy one. Am I wrong?
Correct. Well, it's all about semantics. It's all about semantics. It's all about word choices. And I say it's all about marketing. Because everything that has a leaf like what you just showed is cannabis. And then there are different, depending on which botanist you talk to, there's either 2 or 3 or even 4 species. There's it just depends on who's naming it. But for our purposes, there's the cannabis that we know of to get high. Some people call it marijuana. I don't call it that. I call it cannabis. That has a THC above 0.3%. And then there is what we call hemp, which may have 0% THC, or it may have some CBD, which are cannabinoids. But if it's below 0.3%, then it's considered hemp. But it's all cannabis. They're all able to have sex with each other and make seeds. Yeah. Plant sex.
Yeah, I know.
We gotta
That's another episode.
Exactly.
That goes with our Shakespeare Blue episode. Can I make rope out of this too? Do I just dry it up and twist it up and all that stuff? But I can't make rope out of cannabis, or it is the same thing.
You can. So the rope is made from the stalk, just like in nettles. So you need the fibers of the stalk, and cannabis is beautiful. Now, some varieties of cannabis that are hemp, they're really tall plants with not a lot of nodes in between. So there's beautiful long fibers that would be better for rope or clothing.
But so let's say, theoretically, the sailors on an Elizabethan ship, if they were super stressed out, could they take the ropes down and smoke them and relax?
No, because the cannabinoids, wouldn't that be great? But the cannabinoids that are going to relax you are in the flower.
Okay.
And what I'm looking at is you've got leaf there, and there might be a little bit of a pre-flower started, but it's not the big chunky bud that is a flower.
No, I have no flower. And Sumie says everything flowers. So where is the flower? But okay, so what is the difference? Because at this place in DC where I am, they said this is the flower. It says CBD flower, but he says hemp, and this is the flower. And then there was these drops. Notice these are unopened, folks. And then there's hemp. I got this hemp fiber, which is supposed to be very good for you for some reason. And then hemp balm, which he said, okay, if you put this on, you're going to feel instantly better. And I pain relief for muscles and joints. And so I put it on my knee last night in great disbelief, I have to say. And I did feel better. I felt better. It didn't hurt me all night long. And I'm like, what? So what is this?
Great. Those are great questions. And I love that you have every product available.
Thorough.
So the fiber probably comes from the stalk or the leaf or the seed, which we haven't talked about. You've got the dried flower, and dried flower is where where the little trichomes are. Those are like we say in porn. When you look at a picture on Instagram, for example, of bud, and it's got crystally, sparkly, I call that bud porn. They're like, ooh, look at all the sparkles. In those little glands, that's where the cannabinoids are and the terpenes. That's where the CBD is, in those little teeny tiny trichomes. And that's where the THC is, or the CBG, or the smelly different terpenes. All the medicine is in those little glands. So you've got a flower that is covered in those glands. So if you were to smoke that, you would light it, you would heat it up and then inhale it, get the CBD. Or if it had THC, you'd get the THC. What they to make them, and so you affect immediately within 2 minutes, 2 to 10 minutes. Because with this,
you're breaking up a little bit, and you look kind of like an impressionist painting, but that's nice. Okay. I'm still not getting, I guess, the difference between hemp and cannabis. Is it the THC issue? Is that what I'm?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if we want to have the same vernacular, we're going to say there is high CBD cannabis that is called hemp. Then high THC cannabis that is called marijuana, weed, recreational cannabis. I like to call it personal use, medical. All hemp is high CBD. And CBD is the cannabinoid that has many functions, one of them being anti-inflammatory, but it doesn't make you euphorically high.
Okay. All right. So there you have it, the difference. So it's good for joint pain and things like that. And presumably if I take it in the drops and it's an anti-inflammatory, am I relaxing though? Am I calming down with this stuff as well?
Great. So
Why?
one of the things CBD does, it boosts your endocannabinoids. It boosts your own THC that you make that's called AEA or 2AG. So you can feel relaxed because it boosts your neurotransmitter relaxation.
Okay. Wow. Okay. It's all very fascinating and a bit new to me. But hemp is in Shakespeare, and so you have an avenue, a Shakespearean avenue to relax. So I'm just going to say Tammy Sweet's book, The Holistic Healing Guide to Cannabis, is out next month. You can pre-order it now.
The book is actually out now.
Oh.
The Kindle might not be out, but you can order it on Amazon. You can order it through me. So you can get it. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. It's just the Kindle version. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I stand or sit corrected then. You can get the book now. Thank you so much for stopping and doing this for us. I'm very, very grateful. And we will talk again. Okay, so hello again. Well, I've been here all along. The crickets sing and man's o'er-labored sense repairs itself by rest. I hope you understand a little bit better about hemp and THC and CBD and the difference between all those things. I just wanted to add, as a responsible parent of this show, that be careful, because I didn't ask Tammy if you can get addicted. I have a relative that insists that you can't get addicted to pot, but that's not true. And I've seen fangs come out when he can't get some. So it's a different kind of addiction, perhaps, but at the Alnwick Castle Garden. And Alnwick Castle, if you ever get a chance to go there, if ever anybody ever has a chance to go anywhere again, is in the north of England. And I call it the Tale of Two Harrys, because Harry Hotspur from Shakespeare, there's a big statue. He was born there. And also Harry Potter was filmed there. Huge amounts of Harry Potter fans make the pilgrimage to Alnwick Castle, and it's spelled Alnwick. And they have a poison garden in their amazing garden. And the poison garden, they had to put a cage around the hemp and the cannabis and all that stuff because people kept stealing it. And they have also many other poisonous plants, many of which are in Shakespeare. And they have a coffin which you put money in for kids who get addicted to drugs, and they give it to this organization that deals with that in England. And it's a wonderful thing, and it's a fascinating garden to visit. You learn so much. The guys who walk you through are just brilliant and entertaining and fun and interesting. And you do have to really watch out not to brush up against some of those plants. But anyway, cannabis and hemp are there. So I hope this helped. The crickets sing and man's o'er-labored sense repairs itself by rest. I completely forgot to do the book again. I'm Garrett Quayle, author of Botanical Shakespeare. Here is the hemp and the lines with hemp. One of the things that we didn't put in was the line with crack hemp, because it's a person who should be hanged. But now I'm actually rethinking maybe I should have put it in anyway. Anyway, we're all going to relax this week and breathe, and if you can get some hemp and experiment with it, especially for the joint pain, go for it. It's amazing. It did work. Have a great week.